We're reaching the end of the 10th chapter of Bava Batra. We're dealing with documents. And there are two situations in which a document becomes invalid. One, of course, is if part of the loan has been repaid. So the sum on the document is no longer accurate. And they didn't have electronic bank account recording systems in those days. And the second is if the document itself degrades. What if it becomes, let's say, illegible? And the Mishnah is going to look at these two situations where the number is wrong and where the number is illegible. We're going to pick up in the fifth Mishnah. Misha paramik tzad chovo. Someone actually repaid part of his debt. Part of his debt. Of course, it's a real problem. And the Batra, by the way, comments straight away. The Batra comments straight away. It was a problem for them to write a receipt. So this guy has repaid part of his debt. He's repaid part of his debt. But remember, getting hold of a scribe in those days was a non-trivial thing. So they weren't able to get hold of a scribe to write a receipt for what he'd repaid. So what are they going to do? Let's keep going. He third-partied the document. He shlish comes from the root shalosh, 3. It's in the hithil, which is a causative. It's like he brought in a third party. He third-partied. He third-partied the deed, i.e., he gave the deed to a third party to hold. Usually, the lender would hold the deed, and the lender can, of course, show up at the borrower's house and demand repayment. So the lender now no longer holds the deed, it's sitting with a third party. Amarlov, so he says to the third party, Im lo natati lach mikan ve'ad yom ploni ten lo shtaro. He gives the document to the third party. He's saying, look, if I haven't paid you, i.e., if I haven't paid the money on this debt by such and such a day, give him back his document, i.e., give the lender back his document. Now, what's the implication there? Well, if the lender gets back the document, the lender can enforce for the full amount. But hang on, part of this loan's already been repaid. The full amount is not due. If the lender gets back the document and can enforce for the whole amount, then the borrower is going to lose the down payment that he's made. So what's going to happen? Well, let's keep going on the Mishnah. Higiu zman velo natan. Time, the appointed day has come, and he hasn't managed to repay this debt. What are we going to do? Rabbi Yossi Omer Yiten. Rabbi Yossi says, oh yeah, he should give, i.e., the third party should give the lender this document and allow the lender to reclaim in full. Rabbi Yudah Omer Lo Yiten. Rabbi Yudah says he should not give. The Gemara explains this actually by asking, well, this commitment that the borrower gave, if I have not paid by such and such a day, give him back his document, does that have legal status? And Maimonides makes a fascinating comment here. Ein mitkayem mize klom ve'eino ra'ui b'shem shum panim ela im ken natal kinyan al zeh b'veit din chashuv. It's only valid if he executes it before an important bet din, a bet din chashuv, an important bet din. Ve'ein shum bet din chashuv ela kshiyu smuchim be'eretz Yisrael. And there is no important bet din other than one ordained in the land of Israel, as we will explain later on. In other words, in practice, we can't go according to Rabbi Yossi, he should give today, because it only works if you have a bet din, which is ordained in the land of Israel, this doesn't exist anymore. In practice, the borrower we're gonna cut a little bit more slack for the borrower. And we'll see that we cut slack for the borrower similarly if the document is erased. Someone's document is erased. Mamid, so in that case, the loan might be completely unrepayable. So here we'll get cutting slack actually to the lender. So the debt document is erased. And of course, it could happen very frequently in the time of the Mishnah, because they did not have sealed storage facilities, and parchment is in any case fragile, and ink production quality was not necessarily of the quality that it is today. Many, many reasons. Someone's debt document was erased. So what do we do? So he produces witnesses. He comes before the court. And they make this as his station for him. And they declare, Ish ploni v'nish ploni, so-and-so, the son of so-and-so, nimchak shtaro b'yom ploni, his debt document was erased on such and such a day. I mean, we presume the witnesses remember what was on the document. Ufloni edav, and so are his witnesses. So in other words, they give evidence about the debt to the Bet Din. So that's how we deal with the document that's partially erased, or maybe completely erased. Now, then just coming back, and somehow the Mishnah comes back to the person now who's repaid his debt. Someone's repaid part of his debt. Somehow the Mishnah circles backwards and forwards between repaying part and erasing part. Rabbi Yehuda is going to come in again. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Yachlif. Rabbi Yehuda says he should exchange. In the previous Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda said that in the case of the third party, that the third party should not hand over the document to the creditors. It sounds as though in this situation, there is a possibility of getting hold of a scribe, because when Rabbi Yehuda says he should exchange, Yachalif, he means actually write a new debt document. Write a new document for the outstanding amount. Rabbi Yossi Omer Yichtov Shover. And Rabbi Yossi says he should write a receipt. And there's an interesting twist here, because the receipt will be held by the borrower, but the new debt document would be held by the lender. So there's an important difference in who has responsibility for maintaining the records. Rabbi Yehuda is the one who says they should exchange, i.e., the lender gets a new debt document. And he objects to Rabbi Yossi's opinion, because he says, look, maybe he's trying to protect the borrower here, actually. Rabbi Yehuda says, Nimtza zeh tzarich liot shomer shovaro mina achbar. Rabbi Yehuda says, look, Rabbi Yossi, it doesn't work what you're suggesting, because the borrower has to guard his receipt from mice. He has to protect it effectively from erasure. So we can see there's a theme of erasure going through this Mishnah. The borrower has to protect his receipt from mice. Apparently, it seems as though, anyway, Rabbi Yehuda is not happy with that idea. Amar lo Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi said to him, Kach yafel. Rabbi Yossi said, no, that's good for him. I.e., it's good that we don't give the lender the responsibility of guarding the document. This one's strength shouldn't be degraded, i.e., we're not going to create an additional burden on the lender to issue a new document, to maintain a new document, because the lender should not be disadvantaged by having the loan repaid in part. I think that is what Rabbi Yossi is saying, and maybe Rabbi Yossi is essentially sticking up for the lender. But of course, the Mishnah is slightly ambiguous. It's good for him, for this one's strength shouldn't be degraded. We don't really know whether the him and this one is the lender or the borrower. And Maimonides again helps us out here in terms of who this refers to. This one's power shouldn't be degraded. Maimonides makes clear. He makes clear, Zehu romez al hamalveh. This refers to the lender. And then he concludes, V'halachak Rabbi Yossi, but actually the halacha is according to Rabbi Yossi, and they write a receipt. So the borrower will indeed have the responsibility of holding on to the document if he has the option of repaying the debt early in part, then he has the responsibility of making sure that the receipt isn't attacked by mice.